We're on the air.
Okay. Okay, Quinn, so are you ready? Ready to talk about it? Talk about the most important scientific revelation of our time.
Post-internet art.
Really? How can we be post-internet? Like, we're still in the internet.
It's like when they say post-internet, it means after like the introduction of the internet.
Okay. I mean, it's postmodern.
The internet.
Are we even modern anymore?
The internet's not interesting anymore. It's banal. So
But isn't that... Okay.
so that's why it's post-internet.
Just like us, but I don't know if we were ever interesting. Ooh. Dark. I don't know when season 2's coming out.
Oh, of Dark? I don't know.
We have no news to bring you on this channel.
Who cares?
Ouch. I care, Quinn. I want to see it.
I cared before the last episode.
Oh, you're sounding like all those other people. You really think the last episode?
Well, I don't think you ever told me your opinion on it.
I liked the last episode to an extent. I'm not a huge fan, but I thought it was fine. It was a fine ending.
I was kind of like ready to see God at the end of it, you know?
Okay.
Like waiting for,
I mean,
like,
they had hinted about that. If I had I kind of validated my own personal fan theory that there was something horrible that happened in the future, and that's why all these things were happening in the past, because people were trying to change that. And
I mean, it could be really good. The first season was really good, but
yeah, I've got to see. I mean, the other thing is a sense of like the whole, and also the end focused on like the theme of the show, which was the idea of eternal reoccurrence, and at the end of the series, everything reoccurs. It's frustrating. It's that is.
I feel like the bad guy is Nietzsche.
Nietzsche. Are we in the post-Nietzsche age? Is Nietzsche boring now?
I think we're in the re-Nietzsche age.
Yeah, he's just another decadent philosopher.
His philosophy happens to go really well with TV shows on television.
And time travel. Particularly TV shows featuring time travel. Speaking of time travel, you ready to time travel all the way back to 2000 BCE?
Before Christ.
Yes.
Evangelion.
Okay, Quinn. It's a good reference to what we're going to be talking about today. I'm making a long story short about the history of...
Don't.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
You'll be able to hear your foot rubbing against the microphone for the past 3 minutes.
That's nice. That should be the new theme. Not footsteps, but foot rubbing.
Today's episode features some ASMR from Alex's foot on the microphone.
Yeah, going all the way back to the 2000 BCE when the Anunnaki aliens created humans to mine gold for them in their gold plantations in ancient Iraq. Yeah, that's right. The aliens, man. The aliens created mankind. Okay, I don't seriously believe that, but that theory was behind the famous History Channel TV show, Ancient Aliens. It's actually a runaway success. And I guess we could be considered, I think it got canceled a year ago, so now we're in the post-Ancient Alien age. It finally got boring. They finally ran out of things to talk about, despite the fact that they pretty much talked about everything related to aliens on that show. Like, did you ever see, like, season 6? They were talking about, like, I think Roswell, which is, like, not ancient at all.
But it ties back to the pyramids, man.
I don't know. I don't see how Roswell ties back to the pyramids, but I need to watch that episode again. Maybe they're able to do it.
Well, you're separating them in time, and if there are aliens, they're probably fourth dimensional beings. And there's no time difference between Roswell and the pyramids. There's only space.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Who knows? So the idea of ancient aliens is also not that ancient. Stunning development.
Really?
Really?
Go on.
Okay, the first. I mean, and no one actually really knows who invented it. Some people there's actually a lot of people who connect the explosion of the theory to a 1966 book. I think it was like Life in the Universe, which was written by famous astrophysicist Carl Sagan and his Russian counterpart Shnakhov. I can't pronounce his name. In which they spent an entire chapter discussing how, because this is like during the millennium of the 1960s, where there's a lot of space race stuff going on, and the belief that mankind would soon be extraterrestrial civilization. We're gonna moon colonies by 2020 or something, and that all those sci-fi dreams were going to become a reality. And Star Trek was on network TV, not anymore. And that network TV would be great, and we wouldn't be having to pay for extra programs just to watch Star Trek.
I thought you were going to say that the Egyptians believed in alien races from long ago.
I mean, the issue is this. This is one of the things Sagan himself did propose in the paper. I mean, this book is that he talked about how despite what we believe, traditional civilizations, even ones that don't have written records, are able to preserve remarkable memories of encounters. And he discussed the Tilgut people of southeastern Alaska, who were able to maintain about over 200 years a fairly accurate description of their first contact with the French explorer Comte de la Pelouse in like the late 18th century. And then he discussed how a lot of religious traditions revolve around the idea that beings that came from the sky gave humans certain gifts or knowledge and then left. And I think he mentioned this one Sumerian water god. I think it begins with an O. But basically Sagan himself has been, before he died, was very critical of the movement, and in the 70s wrote a bunch of stuff blasting ancient alien theorists. I mean, the biggest one, and it's the one the History Channel program was huge in promoting as well, was the 1968 book Chariots of the Gods by Erich von Däniken, a Swiss-born writer who... This, essentially, Chariots of the Gods is sort of like the Bible.
Of aliens?
Of ancient aliens.
The Alien Bible.
Yeah.
That's the title of this podcast.
Alien
the
Bible.
Alien Bible. Quinn and Alex uncover the mysteries of the Alien Bible.
I've never read Chariots of the Gods, though I did watch the first pilot episode of Ancient Aliens when I was like...
Thou shalt wear green bodysuits.
Yes. Yeah. To make a long story short, this is sort of like the core book, and Eric himself appeared on a bunch of the Ancient Aliens programs, especially in the early seasons on the History Channel.
Did you ever see the one on Tesla?
I didn't. I know that one interesting thing about Ancient Aliens is how much is just self. I was looking at some of the main contributors to the show, and like there's like a sort of, the main contributors are sort of like all over the place. Like there's this one guy like David Childress who was like a rogue self-described rogue archaeologist who also was big into Tesla and free energy and Lemuria and the lost city of Atlantis and aliens. And then there were some like religious figures who were convinced this was all proof of the Bible. And there were like former British, this guy Nick Pope, who's like a famous ufologist, who's a former British secret.
Did you just casually say ufologist?
He is. That's how that it's a term to describe people who study UFOs phenomena.
That's funny.
They had like this Jungian psychologist to talk about what it all really all the collective myths really represented.
Unidentified flying objectologist.
I mean, Jung did actually write some stuff about UFOs, and there's
Jung did?
Yeah, he was like UFOs. What is the belief that they're flying aliens, flying saucers? Well, how does that relate to man's civilized mind?
What is the psychological representation of that?
Yeah, we should read it one of these days. But basically, it's very interesting. I think my personal opinion of ancient alien stuff is it's interesting and possible, but it's just no one's ever really made a good argument, and at the same time, it's really difficult to find evidence. Because if you look at a lot of the ancient alien arguments, it's all about weird attempts to try and connect many different monuments built by many different cultures over a wide variety of time together. It's like, oh, look at that, the pyramids, they were built 2,000 years ago, how did they do that? And then like, oh, look at that, the Moai of Easter Island, how did they do that? And those two objects were built literally about 3,500 years apart by different people using different tools and like different climates, and they don't even look alike.
You mean like archaeological proof of aliens? I mean architectural proof of aliens based on like how great the architecture is? I
guess what I'm trying to say is that there's a bunch of the biggest issue of ancient aliens is that there's a bunch of like different phenomena. They talk about like, how did they build the pyramids? How did they build the Moai of the Easter Island? How did they build how did the Incas build the Machu Picchu? You know?
Yeah. And it's almost as if
but the thing is, they were all built by different civilizations in very different historical time periods, and it's sort of like there's no like unifying phenomena beyond aliens.
Yeah, it's like almost a historical pareidolia, if you will.
What's a pareidolia?
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Pareidolia, something like that. What it is like when you look at the moon and see a face.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, because we're really good at recognizing faces.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if we can't explain what like a shape is, we can easily see a face.
Yeah.
So maybe aliens are like a thing we commonly see in,
I think that's in
history.
Yeah, there's an old history meme page that was about the amount of aliens memes by that one crazy-haired, silly guy like Georgios who was on that program.
Yeah.
You know, he was a former bodybuilder. He was like a Mr. Olympia.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know that. There's some pictures of him being really ripped. And now he's an ancient astronaut theorist.
Do we say, look where he is now? or do we say, look how far he's fallen? What's become of him?
Yeah, I mean, in fact, a lot of skeptics have argued that a lot of ancient alien people are just plagiarizing fiction. Like, there's this guy who wrote in Skeptic magazine how a lot of von Daniken's ideas were just related to Lovecraft's Cthulhu mythos. And I mean, probably the strongest and most interesting evidence is exactly that, the mythological evidence of the ideas of contacts of gods and angels, because a lot of nearly all religions have some sort of idea of the God in the sky, and then they send messengers of people who come down, and there's some sort of war in heaven between different sides. Or
yeah, it almost seems like aliens are like mythologically speaking, they're almost like anti-gods, because they're as strange as like a god would be, but like they're not something we generally like love or look up to. Yeah, and like in many religions do. It's like almost the opposite effect of like we're just as curious about it, but we're like fearful or something like that.
I know what I mean. And I think the one the one interesting thing they say about the pyramid, at least in my theory about the pyramids, is like not so much aliens as much as it's like whether aliens actually built the pyramids or whether there was actual contact with aliens and that like freaked humans out enough to believe that something was going on, like there's like an apocalypse coming. Because there's very clear historical evidence throughout history, particularly if we look at early colonial period, in which throughout the world in many different contexts, in which societies that experience sudden and oftentimes traumatic encounters with colonial or foreign powers, even humans, can, particularly in religious phenomenon, become extremely, like, almost apocalyptic. There's the famous Xhosa cattle killings in South Africa, in which during the early British colonial period, a bunch of this female prophet had a belief that essentially we have to kill all the cows in order to get the British out. And then they did that, and then there was a bunch of famine and people died. There's a good look at the Tecumseh's Rebellion in America during the early 19th century. It was a lot of Native American groups tried to unite to stop the U.S. from expanding west, and they based that on like a lot of religious beliefs they got. Taiping Rebellion in China, that was Boxer Rebellion, both of which were also very anti-foreign and had very messianic and supernatural overtones to it, which is kind of. And then so there's a real historical connection between real invasion or close connection with outside invaders and real religious like awakenings, even though at the same time that doesn't necessarily mean aliens.
When the god meets foreign, we meet the alien.
Yeah.
When the god meets the foreign, when the deity meets the foreign invader, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, if aliens ever did show up, I bet there'd be a ton of religious movements about them. And I mean, that's even parodied in TV shows. Like, oh, we gotta worship the aliens. Ah.
Yeah, probably. Well, we gotta merge with robots to defeat them.
You've been playing too much Mass Effect, Quinn?
Nah, I've been listening to too much Elon Musk.
I mean, the aliens might have already singularity'd. It's too late.
You think so? I think their singularity like had ripples that would have affected us all.
I don't know. That's interesting to think about. There's not a lot. I mean, I think there was actually an Ancient Aliens episode about this, about whether or not the aliens were actually robots.
Yeah, like Mass Effect.
Yes, like Mass Effect.
Like there's that alien race that is like already like expanded over the entire universe or whatever.
Yeah, and then there's like the evil robots that are like trying to control humans. It's like, oh,
what's scarier? What's scarier, robots or aliens?
I think robots are scarier.
I've been watching too much Serial Experiment Lane.
No, I mean, it depends. I think the idea of a flesh and blood alien is like both scary, but it's also maybe a bit optimistic in the sense that it's like it's kind of like us, you know. It's got bodily functions. It's got a brain.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think robots are definitely scarier.
Even though at the same time, robots are programmed so that it's a lot easier to figure out how they work, how they tick, you know.
Yeah, well,
ideally, and then that would be a way to like counteract them or even coexist with them.
Yeah, it's movies like The Lawnmower Man or Terminator that scare you of robots, and then it's movies like Star Wars or Alien.
Get you worried
that make you like robots.
Yeah, and then aliens are like they're actually biological, so we could get like horrible diseases from them, or they bring weird parasites.
Yeah, well, I think tameability is the factor, because like I feel like you could tame an alien, or you feel like you have the means to defeat it, unless it's like this giant super intelligent space worm that can just swallow planets or something. But like
Galactus.
But like robots are kind of, I guess technology is kind of. We're already seeing that it's like becoming smarter than us in a lot of ways. So it's kind of.
Yeah, it's something very scary. And like, what would a robot alien look like? Would they even have a human form, or would they be like
A robot alien?
Yeah, like could they just be like a bunch of microscopic swarms of nanobots?
Yeah, that's all. That's what we are, Alex.
Well, but
We're living on an atom.
Well, the Earth's a rock.
Yeah, but that's just like we're just like a dust on an atom.
And then there's all this moss on the atom that looks like a tree.
I met this art dude in San Francisco who's my family stayed at his house, and he's like, "Oh yeah, man, it goes all the way up and it goes all the way down," and he's talking about like relative size of things, and we were talking about how like they this is around the time when they just found like the Higgs boson particle. Yeah. And he's like, they'll find another one. It just keeps going.
As above, as below. It's all doubling.
Multiplicity.
The universe is in an atom that's in another atom. I mean, that's a very nice thing to think about. And it's almost peaceful to think that, you're part of something bigger, or that you're made up of a bunch of different...
Unless you're an atheist.
Then
you don't care. Oh.
Oop. Should probably do some.
I heard something interesting today. Talking about how in the post-internet age, which is the age after the internet was introduced, and now the internet has become commonplace. Before that, this guy named Walter Benjamin said that I
heard that name before.
You wrote like, I'm paraphrasing, but it's like in the mechanical age of reproduction or something.
Yeah.
He wrote a paper on that and talks about aura a lot.
Aura.
And what aura is like, it's like the specialness associated with a piece of art in a time and place. So like the Mona Lisa in France, if you travel there, it has a ton of aura, but like your refrigerator magnet of the Mona Lisa is like very
unaura.
It's not a lot of aura there. You're just like, okay, I'm gonna drink some milk now out of the carton.
Yeah.
And he said that like the multiplicity and the reproduction of things makes aura diminish.
Yeah.
It like divides it. But in my class I'm taking, they're saying in the post-internet age that like it's almost the more like a meme is
spread.
It's spread, not as necessarily memes, but like the more something is spread, the more popular it becomes.
Okay.
Because like there isn't like a space and time location for something on the internet. It's like
it's all transient.
It's like
there's no history.
It doesn't have one location. It's like it is where it is. Like you can be in multiple places at once in time. So
interesting.
I think that's really interesting.
The aliens multiple places at once a time. Wasn't there? Gosh, it's on the tip of my tongue. But there's like this one thing. Ancient aliens are actually modern humans. I think they talked about that once in that.
But we're in the postmodern.
Postmodern humans that like. If we develop time travel and we go back in time to meet our ancestors, we'll be like aliens to them. And what happens if we do something? What happens if we like leave some of our technology behind?
I think we need to start. So the term the prefix post has been adapted to a lot of terms like. Post-hardcore, postmodern,
post-internet,
post-grunge, whatever,
post-ancient aliens.
Yeah. What if we start, and then pre has already been used, but what if we used like re-modern?
Okay, usually it's neo, like neo.
Oh,
there's conservatism, and now there's neo-conservatism.
Shitballs.
And then there was neo-liberalism. I mean, that tends to happen in politics, or neo-functionalism or something. I don't know. It always kind of sounds like we're in the Matrix.
What if we define a new one right now called
Neo-modernism.
No. What about Re-Neo? Re-Neo-modern. It's
modern.re square root A.
It's a revisionist's look at new wave material.
I don't know. I kind of like re. That's a fun prefix.
That's just because you like.
You came up with it.
I know. This is a large lure to get you to bite onto it. We're talking about what show is that? Is that Tokyo Ghoul?
Yeah, that Tokyo Ghoul. Re.
Tokyo
You never
Ghoul.
watched Re, Quinn.
Yeah, I can still joke about it.
But we can't have an intelligent conversation.
We can have an intelligent conversation about the first one, but that's probably already been done. So
Yeah,
it's not hip anymore. It wouldn't be a good post-internet art.
No, you know what's post-internet art? I don't know. I think we're done, Quinn.
This is post-internet.
I don't know. I think we should figure out more re and a neo re the next episode.
We should figure out more.
I don't know.
Okay, well, we're gonna leave you on this vague note.
Ancient aliens. Ancient aliens.
The Alien Bible.
Part 2, more aliens.
Fun and Alex revise the Alien Bible.
Chariots of the Gods, God.
What's the Bible 2 called? What's the second Bible called that they made?
I don't think they made a new Bible.
The New Testament.
There's the Old Testament.
Neo Alien Bible.
I mean, we could always talk about the good old Book of Mormon. It's kind of a sequel to the Bible. At times.
Nah.
The sequel to the Book of Mormon. That'll be a little too edgy.
Yeah.
We get banned from like the state of Utah or something.
Have Hitman after us. Hitman with really wholesome families that they go to home to at night.
Can't drink coffee.
Kill during the day. Make brownies for the family at night.
Sounds like a good plot for a new crime fiction class.
Yeah.
Mormon War.
At every kill, there's a hat and an invisible seeing stone left at the crime scene.
Hard-boiled domestic. It would be kind of funny if there was a family hard-boiled detective who had a great family life.
Alright, everybody, comment below what's a better title. Alex's Foot ASMR, the Alien Bible, Neo-Re. What else do we talk about?
Post-ancient aliens. And the aliens left us.
Yeah. Robots versus aliens.
They haven't.
Shootout.
Did they make?
Showdown.
Didn't they? Oh, they made Cowboys versus aliens. They made Monsters versus aliens. When are they gonna make Robots versus aliens?
I don't know.
Hollywood needs.
Right after Sharknado versus aliens.
Octopus versus Sharktopus. No, it was Sharktopus versus Mega.
Sharktopus. That'd be a good band name.
Yeah, that was a History Channel. I mean, Sci-Fi Channel original.
Sharktopus? Really? Was it like a shark with tentacles? Or was it a tentacle thing with
No,
teeth?
it was a shark with just a bunch of tentacles coming. It was just a great white shark with a bunch of tentacles.
Were they purple?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, literally it was like, we made a shark. The plot. Set stage. You see it swimming. First cut. Bunch of researchers at a lab. We've made a sharktopus. Really? Really? Wait, this is what we're spending U.S. government funding on? Beep, beep! Something's come on! Oh no, we lost control of the Sharktopus. We're cutting off all your funding. Why are you making a Sharktopus? Sharktopus swims into the bay. This guy's painting a ship. Tentacles grab him. Sharktopus. Opening title.
Nice.
Yeah, that's about all you need to know about Sharktopus.
Doesn't open with like a naked hot chick swimming in the ocean and then like no, they don't want to put any like sexual references because then it would immediately become Japanese and be like considered a hentai, and that's not cool.
Sharktopus. Okay. Well, we'll catch you next week, maybe.
Next week's topic: octopus hentai.
Probably not, though.